Drogoz.
Hello fellow champions of the realm, and welcome to the Drogoz Paladins breakdown. In this video, we'll be reviewing Drogoz's entire kit, lore, cards, and some sample decks to get you started, all in an effort to help you best utilize this champion in your countless battles throughout the realms. Before we get into the champion himself, let's get to know the story behind the legend. Drogoz was born as a wingless wyvern underling to a ruthless dragon. Refusing to serve anyone's will other than his own, Drogoz escaped via a pair of crystal-fueled mechanical wings crafted with the assistance of a brilliant dwarven engineer, Barrett, who helped him escape his servitude. Being draconian, the natural instinctual kick inside all dragons led him down a path of cruelty and avarice, sending him on a realm-wide conquest for material gain, leaving only destruction in his wake. While ever-growing tensions between the magistrate and the resistance boiled to an all-time high, Drogoz streaks through the sky, laying claim to all the gold, treasure, and lives of those he crosses. Now that we have a clear understanding of how Drogoz came to be, let's see exactly what makes him such a threat in the arena. Drogoz's primary is his trusty rocket launcher. Every 0.85 seconds, Drogoz bombards his adversaries with explosive rockets that deal 850 damage on impact in a small area of effect. The damage itself is fairly solid, easily putting him up among the likes of Victor and Bomb. Do note that because of the inherent nature of AoE attacks, the rockets themselves do suffer from damage falloff, meaning the further away an enemy is from the blast radius, the less damage they'll take. Drogoz's first ability is Flame Spit. Drogoz regurgitates a small gland of his acidic saliva that can be detonated by exploding it with a rocket. The Spitfire then bursts open, dealing 950 damage in a small area of effect. Players looking to add some extra value to this attack can increase the size of the saliva ball with the card Ball of the Sun. Drogoz's second ability is called Thrust. When activated, Drogoz launches himself into the air, catapulting him into the sky. In addition, players can hover while airborne by pressing and holding the X button. Drogoz's third and final ability is Salvo. Pressing left trigger will cause Drogoz to load all remaining rockets in his launcher and supercharge it to bombard his enemies with. Each rocket deals 250 base damage and explodes on an indirect impact, causing damage in a small area.
An enemy is unstoppable.
Drogoz's ultimate is Dragon Punch. Drogoz winds up for 3 seconds, preparing to take off towards an enemy champion. Once primed, any opposing target he comes into contact with will automatically be executed, regardless of health or shields. In the event Drogoz dies during the windup or is burst down shortly thereafter, 33% of his ultimate charge will be refunded to the player upon respawn. Now that we've gone over his kit, let's dissect his cards, starting with the 3 legendary options. Drogoz's default legendary talent is Combustible. An improved Fire Spit now deals an additional 300 damage over the course of 2 seconds and applies a knockback effect. Fusillade is Drogoz's second legendary ability. Rockets that come into direct contact with an opposing champion deal 25% more damage upon impact. Drogoz's final gold card is Worm Jets. When selected, Drogoz will have increased movement speed while using his booster. Moving on to his regular cards, Drogoz has a very balanced card pool that affects all his talents relatively equally. Less experienced players may want to maximize their rank on cards like Spitfire and Decimate in order to reduce the amount of complexity involved in deck building. Another great card is the aforementioned Follow the Scent. It scales greatly, and at max rank increases the lookie to over 100 times its base size. Propel is another card that has excellent scaling, even at lower tiers. Other high-value cards are Fuel Tank to increase flight duration, Altitude to restore your fuel by participating in fights, Rain of Fire to give Drogoz more efficient fuel consumption after thrusting, and Survival, which at max rank completely resets the cooldown of thrust when at or below half health. Next, let's go over some sample builds to help get you started with this draconian danger. In sample deck 1, we are maxing out on both Rain of Fire and Propel to get a bird's eye view of the battlefield, then relay enemies' positions and other relevant information to our team. We are also using Survival and Fuel Tank at rank 2 to increase our capacity by a fifth its original value, and reset our cooldown entirely once we drop into red health, capitalizing on the great base value of Altitude to round off our lineup. In sample deck 2, we will focus our deck synergy around Salvo and directly decimating our foes. To this end, Decimate and Spitfire are both great cards to max out, leaving cards like Hot Swap as a great mid-tier option for us. Using Thrust and Follow the Scent as a great way to get above our enemies quickly and detonate our Saliva Bomb for a surprise from above. For our final sample deck, we'll look towards using an even mix of both previous strategies. Having Rain of Fire and Altitude at max rank should keep us good on airways, and we'll put Propel at rank 3 to give us a nice jump start. Finally, we'll end the build with Decimate for a bigger blast radius and Follow the Scent for a bigger looky AoE. That concludes the Drogoz Paladins breakdown. If you enjoyed, feel free to recommend a champion you'd like to see covered next, and potentially get your comment featured in the video. Until then, champions, we'll see you all on the battlefield.